Right, welcome, boys. We're going to go through the mock assessment. So obviously it's in the team. You can find out the assessments, and you grab these two files. Every time you grab them, download this one here. Obviously not so important that you download, but I guess out of sheer paranoia, if you don't download it, and then you lose a heap of stuff. But I'd probably edit the one in here. I'm not too worried about that. The chances of you deleting a heap of stuff is fine. In terms of this one, always download, because that means if you do something to this, you can go back to the original, re-download it, and restart again. But if you've worked over the top of this and then you think you've stuffed something up, you're stuck with that. So you're going to be emailing me and going, oh, I need another file. So once you download, enable your editing. It's always a good start. And we're looking to sort this data. So this is cases. Obviously, it's to do with phone cases. And if I read the Word document, brief here, you're selling online wooded phone cases. Knowing the context of what you're selling sometimes makes it a little bit easier to pick through the stuff. You just set up a rough test model for the products, suppliers, customers. Can't do so. So obviously there's going to be some form of products, which is the cases. There will be a suppliers, there will be a customers. There might be more in there, but at least those gives me some pretty strong hints at what I'm dealing with. Okay, so easiest one to deal with always is customer, because it's just individual. It's pretty clear, like postcode. There's quite a bit of stuff changing there. I'm not sure if that's for a supplier or a customer. Email, obviously a lot of repeating. It's probably a supplier then. And there's a supplier that's repeating in the same pattern. Email address. Now this is all very individual. So I'm going to say cut it. So Control X and then paste. The reason why we cut is now it's one less thing for me to have to try and figure out what's in there. Last name, cut. Customer. Insert cut cells. So whenever you insert it, just shoves whatever was there to the right of it. Right. Okay, going through an address, that's all pretty individual. I can see that straight off the bat. Oops. So I'm gonna grab that in there. Chuck the address after the email. I guess this day and age is not as important. Contact, first name. With how individual that is, it's pretty obvious. Right, suburb, that looks pretty individual. Last name's in there again, by the looks of things. Customer, insert. Yes, this is the last name, so this is obviously a bit of an issue. That's a typo. So there we go, we fixed some errors in the data. So we're going to grab the suburb, customer, insert. So we've got like smallest, bigger, like if there was a city, that's kind of the order you would obviously do that in. Grab the phone number before I grab the date of birth, because it's kind of like an address type thing. Right. There's no reason why I should have a date of birth for anything else besides a customer. Right, so that looks like our customer done. Great. Clearly I know this is a supplier because there's a name that says supplier. It's quite handy. So let's grab that. Right, cases, supplier. I've got this pattern there, China, Nangtong, contact. Those all look to be in the same pattern. So I'm going to grab those. Right. Contact, supplier. Let's see the contact name first. Cases. I'm sure I saw an email address back here somewhere before. Yep. Supplier. Right. So cases, and we've got this postcode, and this is going same like this, different. Yeah, see this one, but California, and this is different, and this is different. Then Jersey, and New Jersey, and that's lining up with California. So these two are not connected clearly. And if I look at this one here, under supplier, like all of that should be the same, and it's not. So my instincts tell me that has to do with your address. Right. So we figured that out, but it was much easier now that we've done this. Okay, so let's clear out some empty stuff. Right, let's put together all the stuff I know is definitely going to be the product. So the model is pretty individual. Just insert those there. So product, model, fashion style. Yeah, that's probably going to be to do with the product. Price, clearly to do with the product. Color, that's going to be obviously to do with the product, so I'll just chuck that under style. Quantity, that's going to be individual, like price. And then if I take these two out, 2, 2, 2, 2, that's a typo. I know that's a typo. But because you can see here, same, same, same. These three here are all the same. So I'm going to say this is under brand, I'm guessing. He says like he doesn't know. Brand. Right, chuck that in there. So I'll just shift it in there. Alright, so before we start removing things, we've got our cases now is all sorted, our customers are all sorted, and our suppliers all sorted, but we need to connect up the supplier and the brand to the product, right? So if I take this and I make a copy now, so I'm leaving one there as well. Right, so our supplier is this here, and we'd have a supplier ID. So we know that our first supplier is this, whatever one I'm not going to try pronouncing. Right, and then we've got this Shenzhen. Right, so that's clearly one supplier, two supplier. Right, if I delete that now, because I've got a kind of an idea of where the differences are. If I had an ID number alongside this and said 1, 2, and I got rid of all my duplicates, because that's what I'm going to do, data, remove duplicates, that little symbol there. So there you can see 1, 2. So effectively, I don't want to go to the website. When I come here, I know that who supplied these products here, which was supplier 1. You can see that links up, and then obviously these ones here, supplier 2. Right, so the other one we've got here is the brand. So if I take the brand, copy that, cases, does the order matter? No, it doesn't, so let's just chuck it wherever. Right, brand ID, we know 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Right. I don't know why that's formatted differently than these ones, but really does not matter. Like, honestly doesn't, but, you know, for OCD reasons, you can if you want. So, brand, we need to remove our duplicates then. Now, if I put this back, this is what it was originally. I'll tell you why. No, it's obvious. Look, those are taking out all the originals. It's just this row here. The only thing difference is the year founded. Chances are Mr. Grimm has dragged a value down, and it's counted up instead of just saying 2004 the whole way. So that's why that's been like that. Right. I will endeavour, and I will double check that the data you receive doesn't have any obscure glitches. If you have a glitch where you have, like we had here with a customer with the last name in twice, it's pretty obvious, then yep, that's fine. That's you being organized with your data and you're pulling out the errors. So there we go. So this needs to be saved now. Great. And then we need to import it into Access. So when we open up Access, blank database, make sure we know where we're going to save it rather than just letting it go somewhere randomly on our computer. So I am going into curriculum, database, 2020, level 1, Mark 2, create. Right, okay, so I don't need this table 1 thing, that's fine. I am going to get external data, so from a new source, from file, from an Excel file. Browse, so where are we going to find it? Well, I'll find it in our downloads, because that's where Excel normally comes in. There we go. Okay. So this is fine. Always click next. Yeah. And always check sure that that first row contains the headings. If it's not ticked and it's like this, then it's going to be called field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then your ID numbers that you've lined up will not line up properly. So once you've checked that, then you can hit finish, because the rest of it's all fine. So same again, browse. Okay. Next one down. Next. That one's ticked. Great. Finish. Finish. Close. New data source from file. Excel. Browse. Yeah, okay. Customer. Next. This one, if you don't tick it, you can fix it. It's slow, but it's fixable. It's because it's not related to anything. That's why it's not such a big deal. Right. I'm going to get the supplier in again without it ticked, and to show you what the error is that you're going to run into, just to make it clear. So when you if you have stuffed up this way, you know what to do. Right, so supplier, next, unticked, next. I have to go next because I can't call it supplier. Right. So this is what it looks like. Field 1, 2, 3. Right. So I can rename like these like supplier and what have you. So I'm going to copy. Okay, oh, fine. Supplier. Contact. Country. City. Email. Right. Delete. Okay. Right. Short of me taking these rows and shifting it up one, and so Shenzhen becomes ID 2, and Nakota becomes ID 1. So if I do this, delete. Okay. So I've got ID 2 and 3 in my supplier, where my normal supplier has ID 1, 2. Right? Which doesn't seem like a huge difference, but it is when you come to the cases table, because I've got suppliers ID 1, 2, not 2, 3. So I'd have to change these to then line up with these ones. So you can see why that causes an issue when you don't tick that box and you're trying to fix it. So the easiest way to fix that is to honestly just re-import your Access file. Sorry, your Excel file to Access. Because how long did it take to import it? Not much at all. Right, let's delete that because it's useless. Okay. So we've got them in, and we haven't done anything with our Excel data besides maybe going through and then deleting the empties. So that's all fine there. We've got some empties there. So I just highlight and hit delete on the keyboard, because if you highlight and then you right mouse click, it's going to do this, and you're going to delete, and you just get rid of one. So highlight, delete, you get the idea. Highlight, delete, yeah. Brand cases. So we've got some empties over here as well. Delete, yeah. It's just that there was data in there in Excel at one stage, and the system kind of recognizes there was, and so it wants to delete all the empty stuff. Like it puts in those blank spaces because it's like there was data in there, even though there's nothing there really to look at. Okay, so I've gone through and deleted that. Now what we know is that we need to document things in our OneNote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to document the table data improvement, sort out the the data, get the relationships done, then I'll end the video, and then I'll start the next part where I start getting into the queries, and I'll start kind of doing that, and I'll do them kind of chunk by chunk. But the first chunk's the biggest one, which if you manage to get done with basically in an hour, you're doing pretty well. Right, okay, so the table data, what can be improved? So if I just go in here and give myself a space, I'm going to go pull up a table like the cases has got quite a few things in there. So let's go have a look and go home, look in the design view. Short text, currency, number. So these could be lookup wizards, not that they actually look any different unless you click in here. Price, yes, it should be currency. What I'm going to do purely for the screenshot is flick everything to short text, and except for one of these IDs, which I'll explain later why not, but just for the sake of it, for doing things right, I will leave it like that. Okay, so that's there, and I'll say yep, and you can see the field size 255. Right, so I'm going to take a screenshot, so it's on the keyboard, print screen. If in doubt, you could Google it. Right, it's going to go here, paste. Am I going to crop it and size it down? I could quite easily size it down, at least, just so it's not stupidly big. But enough so you can at a glance be like, oh yeah, I can see what's there. Right, initial queries, what can be improved? And I'll go equals field sizes and data format. That's it. I'm too lazy to write anything else. So the evidence of the improvements now. So if I go, that should be number, that should be number, that should be currency, color, should be a lookup wizard. So before I make that a lookup wizard, I'll have to grab the data again, I guess. So how do we make those lookup wizards? Because let's have a look at our original. Yes, you've saved some stuff, might be lost. Right, close the other stuff I'm not working with currently. Right, and I'm going to rename this cases ID. I just always name it with the name of the table with ID. Right, so clearly there's a lot of duplication there, but it's not kind of grouped with something else to make it a separate related table, because just because it's transparent blue doesn't mean it couldn't be a durable case and be transparent blue. These obviously could potentially have quite a lot of duplication there, because I'm sure there's going to be quite a lot of cases that are black or silver or whatever. So what I do is I go down here, I copy this, open up Excel, and I use the remove duplicates. So I just paste it. Okay, that didn't work very. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's made one giant box. Random. So I'm just going to go copy here, insert, copy. Alright, I just hit Control V on the keyboard and it decided to do it that time. I don't know why. Right, so I want to remove a duplicate, so I just go Data, Remove Duplicates. Okay. Highlight those two. Make sure you don't get style in there as well. So copy, and then when I go in here and I go Design View, I was under Style. So Style, drop down, Lookup Wizard. I will type the values I want. Click on that col1 part, not the blue box underneath, but the col1 part, and then hit Paste. There you go. Next, like you can just hit Finish straight away. There's nothing really you need to do there ever. Right, so back to the design view. So I can do color, copy, go to my Excel thing. I could just paste over the top. Right. So in terms of this here, I'm just going to grab this, remove my duplicates. Okay. Right. So I'm going to copy all those. Copy back here, design view, style, wizard. I'll do the values I want. Click on col1, paste. Yep, finish. Back to there. So I've done fashion model. It's going to be obviously repeating a lot, as you can see. And the product name can be repeating. I don't think that one so much, but for argument's sake, we'll do it anyway. Copy here, paste. Right. Yeah. Okay. And we're going back here then, and then it was under model. Lookup Wizard. I will type Part1, paste. Yep. Finish. And product name, Lookup Wizard. Right. Right, so this. Finish. Okay, so those have all got now Lookup Wizards, as you can see. The other thing that we want to do then is we want to choose the field size. So under fields, I can go. A real lazy way is just do this, take that off. I'm just saying, is that 25 characters? Probably. No, it's not. It's 26. So there we go. 30. I wonder if the drop down was affected. No, drop down wasn't affected. Right, so that one there, oh no, that'll be fine for 25. Yeah. Color, yeah, that's fine for 25. Yeah. Color, see, I'm just going to do 30 just out of paranoia. Price doesn't have a field thing. Quantity, it's a number, that's fine. Supplier, number. See, this one has a number and the format has nothing. This one has number and general number. Whenever you import something from Excel, when you do that, the whole external data thing, even though it's written as a number, when you field here, it comes in like this format, and Access doesn't like it, so we need to change that, but I'll show you what happens when you don't change it. Right, let's go through and very quickly shorten our field lengths down. So, just say 50 for an email. 45 for an address. 25 will be fine for that. Do I want to do a lookup wizard for that? I could. Postcode, I could do a lookup wizard for that. Now this one here, a lot of students attempted to chuck this in as a number format because they are numbers. But it starts with a 0, and as you know, you don't read that out. You would normally just read out 626. So it would lose all these placeholders at the front, which is important in the postcode. So just put 5, put 10. Phone number's the same thing. All your 09s and all that will disappear. Date, time, that's fine. Customer ID. Right. Sure, save. Brand. So, brand ID. I should get away with 25. Right. And this one we can leave as a number, that's fine, because you're never going to have a leading placeholder. That's cool. Supplier. Supplier ID. Right there. I'm just going to say 30. Contact. Country. City. 30. They can just be a bit bigger. Email address. 50. Right, so we've done that, Cases is done. Right. Did I do my follow-up screenshot? I can't remember if I did. No, I never did. Right, okay, so let's go back and do that then, before I get too carried away. So it was the cases table, yeah. So design view, in here, so you can see things are there, and I'm just going to go product name. Let's see, I can show the lookup option here. And I will hit print screen. At the very least, you're going to still see when you look at general that the field size. Right, evidence of improvements. There you go. There it is there. Done. That's all I want to do. Right, initial forms, reports. I think, oh, there's no. Initial queries. Oh, hold on. So that one there should be there. Sure, someone's looking at me cringing this whole time. Is he going to notice? I did, eventually. Right. And then right, so that's under table. That's under queries. Then that's under forms, reports. There we go. We got there. Got there in the end. Okay, so that's all done. That's formatted. So what we want to do is we want to do this. Connect the relationships up. So relationships are important, especially when you're in quarantine. Right. Okay. So chuck customers over to one side. They're not connected to anything. They just float by themselves. The only time customers are connected to anything is if you're year 13. Right. So I got a brand ID and a brand ID and a supplier ID and a supplier ID. So this one we toggled, and it doesn't have. It had that. It only said number and there's a blank underneath it. And force you have to do this. Create. So you should have that one to many. So one supplier supplies many cases. Brand ID. There is one brand, but they have many products. Relationships must be the same number, type, and fields. Data types. Okay. So this is when we go here. This is when I go under brand and go under fields. It's that general number thing that's causing the problem. If I go short text and back to number again, it's happy. That's it. That's all it takes. The only thing that could be an issue is that I know in my brand table there are 6, right? And there should be, in the cases, only 6. So if I had one in here that had a typo on it, said 66 or something like this, it was a number that's obviously not in the brand one, that will cause problems. It'll say like the numbers don't match, because in the brand is 1 to 6, so in the cases in the related field should be 1 to 6 as well. Right, so we go back here and we try and connect them up. Brand ID, brand, enforce. Database engine could not lock table because it is already in use by another person or process. Okay, I've got it open. So I'm going to get rid of that, then do it. Enforce, create. It's happy. So there you go. There's your happy relationship all set up, and it's working, and then that's how the numbers and stuff go in there. So that is the end of part 1 for the video, getting your relationships sorted, and particularly getting these things done. I could actually pop across to the Word document and actually start doing some marking. So in terms of this here, use naming conventions. Yes, because they're pretty much all done, but I've called my IDs things like ID. So I've got brand ID here, but also like supplier ID. I've used the same names. I've got no spaces in anywhere. These ones here have spaces, so they could probably do with tweaking, I guess, if I'm going to be a bit fussy about it. So I'll say yes. 3 queries, no. Report, no. So I haven't touched any of that other stuff. No data errors or missing data in terms of my report tables, I guess. So I'll just leave this as a bit of a question mark because it's probably more to do with the queries than anything. All table data must be correctly formatted. Yes, it is. I went through and formatted all field lengths should be optimized, aka not 255. Yes. Space. Describe 2 to 3 relevant implications that apply to your database. Nope, haven't got to those. That's a OneNote thing. We'll come back to that later. Right, and here, use lookup wizards. Yes, I have. Form, that's to do with the form, haven't touched that. Use Lookup Wizards. So yeah, something twice. Form report. No, can't touch that. More than one database file is showing for improvements. So I should be saving this as like V2, V3 in theory. This one I'm going to be pretty relaxed on because these screenshots are showing that I've obviously been working on the file continuously making improvements, so I think that will suffice. So currently, I haven't got enough screenshots to justify that one. Data is well structured, formatted, and automated where possible, so this will also be connected to the forms. Add queries to full sets, reports. Okay, so as you can see, there's actually a few things that are quite important, particularly this formatting data, field lengths optimized. Very easy to do, but it's achieved. And if you don't do it, you fail. So there we go. That's it. Part 1 done.